Hey friends, I'm going to talk for a few minutes about how I practice scales to improve my intonation. Um, this is not for first year students, although we do talk about these things in class. This is really meant more for the second and third year students or older, even middle school and high school students. Um, when we talk about intonation, we're talking about making the notes match as close as possible, right? So you can match unisons, so two of the exact same notes. So if I play open D, I want that note to match if I play a different D in a different spot of the bass. Right? If it's out of tune, then so that's a little sharp, and that's a little flat. It's not sharp enough to be a different note. It's just out of tune. That's what we mean. So one of the best ways to practice this is to make sure that we're really training our ears to know what the sounds are supposed to be. And practicing scales is a really good way to work on matching intonation or improving our intonation as well. I recommend that you use some kind of drone or reference note when you're practicing. You can play with other people, especially if somebody has an instrument that is what we call fixed pitch, meaning you can't adjust the intonation with your fingers. That would be something like a piano or an electric keyboard or something like that. Or if you have an adult who has really good musicianship and they might be able to play good intonation on their instrument, and you can practice your scales with any instrument as long as they know the same notes. Even string instruments can practice with people who play band instruments if they know their scales the same that we do. What I like to use sometimes, and I find it really useful, is I use a set of recordings called cello drones, and they're available on all streaming services, including iTunes, Spotify. I use Amazon Music. I think YouTube even. You can find them on YouTube. And I like those. And there's one for each note of the instrument. So there's all 12 notes. You're like, oh, Mr. Wolf, we don't play with 12 notes. Not yet, right? In orchestra, especially in elementary school, we tend to play sharp keys, the key of D major, the key of G major, maybe the key of A major. But we also need to learn our minor scales, D minor, G minor, A minor. And eventually, you should be able to play all of your major scales and all of your minor scales. So when I practice scales, I'm going to do the D major scale as a demonstration. I'm going to select cello drone D. There's one, like I said, there's one for each letter. Cello drone C, G, D, A, E. And I like these. Not only are they a good sound, but the track is 6 minutes long, so it's like having a built-in timer to your practice, which I think is good. When I put it on, turn up my volume, you just get the drone, and it just plays like that. And we can leave it just like that. I can work on the D major scale. Right, and that's hopefully what we want the scale to sound like. And just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to play a little out of tune on purpose. So that's not in tune. It's like halfway between an F natural and F sharp. You hear how I'm sliding into the note to make it match better? Same there with that A. See what I mean? Right? So that's how I would practice my D major scale. And obviously, if you play violin, viola, or cello, the fingerings are going to be very different from the bass, but the exact same process applies, okay? And then we can also do this with our arpeggios. Okay? And to take it one step further, especially if you want to add some rhythm training or some steady beat practice, you add a metronome, keeping a steady beat. And for elementary school, maybe somewhere between 72 and 80 is a good place to start. Older students, high school students, and college students, when I used to teach at college, I would make them do between 50 and 60, but that's really slow, and it's hard to keep a steady beat that slow. So for elementary school, 72 might be a good speed, all right? And then as you get stronger with your steady beat, you work on it slower. So I would start with half notes, so 2 counts for each sound. 1, 2, 1, 2. Feel really good about the intonation and the steady beat on that, then you go from half notes to quarter notes. So we don't change the speed of the metronome. I'm just going to play 1 count for each sound instead of 2. Like that, okay? And I know my students in class, we talk about, well, do you repeat the top note or do you not repeat the top note? And sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, depending on situations and who you're playing with. So in a group setting, I always say, let's repeat the top note. But when you're practicing by yourself, you can do it either way, okay? So good luck with your scales. Good luck with working on matching your notes and improving your intonation. I think it's a really, really important thing to work on. And it's also really good for the instrument. I know that my bass, sometimes when I play, especially when I play slow, like long tones or slow bows, those long vibrations kind of help the sound get better. The wood just vibrates better, or maybe it's my hands, my technique improves. But I like playing slow quite a bit, and it's good for us. All right, friends, happy practicing, and I will see you later.